It's a beautiful morning here in South Georgia. I got a group of cardinals right above me here, been singing. You can hear the baby panting. We just finished our run. I'm sweating like the youngest boy that just went to church and confession. But it's still a beautiful day. Came down with a bug last week. Man, it crawled up inside me and I think it died. I went ahead and ran a couple days ago, 2 in the afternoon in South Georgia. That was probably a mistake. And so I'm back at it again this morning and just trying to get it all out of my chest. Today's video is about fingerprints. And I've written a lot, if I can talk, in the past about the tracks and the things that we leave behind that we really don't analyze that. My dad always said, you know, you want to leave the world better than the way you found it. And I try to do that with everything, with the environment, my life, you know, whatever I touch. I just want to try to be better as best I can. You know, and for a lot of the writings I did, I was trying to talk about that, you know, to think about the footprint that you're leaving. You know, it's no different in our business. If we're working on somebody's property, we try not to leave big ruts and things like that. Simple. And then there's more depth to that. You know, the influence you make and how you respond to people. And, you know, it's amazing the things that people say to you that you don't realize, you know, hit them really hard and it sticks with them for years, you know. And there's positives to that. You know, there's times that you'll run into people and they'll, man, you said this to me 20 years ago and I've never forgotten that, you know, and you're like, crap, I don't remember saying it. But over the last 5 years, I've developed a relationship with a guy that's actually young enough to be my son, but when I talk to him, it doesn't seem like he's young enough to be my son. He seems like he's probably my age. He's married, got kids, got a business. And our friendship has developed, and we talk. And he's a mechanic by trade, and he's mechanicked on a few things for me. But sometimes we just talk. And so yesterday I had a conversation with him, and it was the longest conversation I've ever had with him on the phone. And I guess he had time to talk or wanted to talk, or I don't know, the stars aligned. And he's breaking his 16-year-old son into the business. Doesn't necessarily want him to take the business over, just like, hey, you know, if you want some summertime work, you can come to the shop and work with Dad. And so the kid's 16 years old. He's got his own little business on the side, cutting grass. And I've met the kid, seems like a good kid. And he was finishing up a vehicle, and his dad said, you need to wipe the fingerprints off that fender. And the boy said, well, those aren't my fingerprints. I didn't put them there. I wasn't nowhere near that. And I said, it don't matter. Wipe the fingerprints off. He said, when I started in the business, the man that got me into it said, wipe the fingerprints off, wipe the inside of the engine down, because when they pop the hood, they just paid $5,000 or whatever, you know, they go, oh, wow, the engine's clean. And he said, and that's just the way you got to do it. And he said, if you move their seat, mark their seat and put it back to where it was at. Put it back the way you found it. Very inspirational. And I think when you're younger, it's very difficult. And I'm confident that when I was younger, I didn't seek inspiration from people outside of my lane. You know, they had to be in the military or law enforcement, and then I would gravitate towards them and I'd be like, man, I want to hear what they got to say. I didn't realize that inspiration can come from just almost any available source. It could be a housekeeper in a hotel, you know, and I've learned that with wisdom. The reason I chose this backdrop, this building is really, really old. It's a really cool building, especially on the inside. But it's full of wisdom and knowledge. And you're like, well, it's just a building. No, it's because when you go on the inside and you look at it and you look at what's in there, that's my other phone, you know, you can just see the history of it. And it's like, God, I wish it could talk, you know, and the way that they butted boards together and the way it was designed. And maybe there's better designs now, or those are just designs that took more time and more money, and now we just don't do that. But when we see these younger people out there, it is our responsibility, even if they're not our kids, to teach them about wiping fingerprints off. I mean, how many times do we walk into the grocery store and there's a cart right there and we walk right by it and we don't grab the cart and take it in with us. That's not my cart. There's somebody's going to get paid to do that. I'll just grab a cart on the inside. Or we're cruising across the gas station parking lot and there's a piece of trash laying there. That's not my trash. And I get you don't want to touch it and it's nasty. I'm totally with that. You know, maybe grab a paper towel. But we have become a society that, well, it's not my fingerprints, it's not my problem. And I don't think it was supposed to be like that. My friend that I talked to yesterday has no idea, and hopefully I'll get him to watch this video, that conversation was so inspirational to me. And I think as you age, you start to look around and you go, what in the holy hell is going on? What happened to our society? You know, what caused us to not think about these things? What caused us to stay exclusively in our lane? And it's me. One of the biggest things that you'll learn if you ever go in the Marine Corps, you know, there is no I in Marine. There is, but you know, it's us. We are a team. And helping these younger kids understand, yeah, that's not my trash. It don't matter. Pick it up, do your part. And I've written about that. I've done presentations on the massive emphasis, importance of doing your part in life. And like, well, what is your part? Is it just your lane? No, just do your part. You know, that's the video. I mean, seriously, I talked to this guy for an hour and 37 minutes yesterday. To be honest, I didn't have an hour and 37 minutes yesterday to talk to him. But the way that conversation went, it was like just to listen to someone young enough to be my son, who gets it, who wants to raise his kids right, who wants to run a business and be responsible and ethical and have a conscience. And it's like, hey, if the vehicle's not right, we'll make it right. Man, that's the junk, you know, because the limited access I have to society, which is very limited anymore. It might be a baseball game, if I go somewhere to do trauma work. But for the most part, I'm out here in God's country. I'm in the woods, middle of the night, you know, and when I do meet people, I'm like, man, what the hell happened? And I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone in that. I hear it. But a man young enough to be my son, who is doing his 100% best to raise a son, to go, listen, I don't care. They're not your fingerprints. Wipe them off anyway. And he said to me, he said, the guy that got me into the business said, treat every vehicle like it's your grandparents. And I was like, there you go. And there's a lot to be said for that. I don't ever want to put a video out that I wouldn't want the people I really, really love to not watch it and go, hey, that's good stuff. Hey, he's putting his heart into it. So, in the words of my father, leave the world better than the way you found it. I'm going to buzz you around. And we haven't forgotten about the big tree that I got to climb, but I ordered some new climbing devices. And they just came in, and now we're just waiting for the weather. It's South Georgia summer, a lot of rain in the afternoons, high humidity. That's why we love it here. But we got to really watch the weather, especially if you're going to be in the top of a tree and a little storm blows in. That may not work out so well. Might make a great video, but it wouldn't work out so well for me. Hang on. So there's our big trees waiting for us. Well, here comes the baby. Hey, baby. She says, Daddy, I'm ready to go home. She's beautiful. She's precious, too. All right. We got a field of cotton coming in. Finally getting some rain here in South Georgia. So who am I today? Well, I'm a guy that's got to change clothes, break in my new cowboy hat. My bride, love her to death, but she told me my old cowboy hat was hideous. I Googled that. That's actually not a compliment. So I ordered a new one, and that's a big deal. Got to break in a new cowboy hat. I probably had that hat 15 years. I don't know. Maybe that's why it was hideous. I got the Eagle Globe and Anchor on the top. custom made. I custom made it. But I hope the video works for you, and I hope you share it with people. And I hope that you realize that when we look past people, even people who aren't in our lane, our interest, our habits, the things that we love, when we're doing that, when we're in our lane, there's inspiration everywhere. And that's what I try to tell our boys, is that there's inspiration in people that you just have no idea. And we're cheating ourselves when we look past people and go, well, what does that person have to offer me? You have no idea. Just like this old building. Most people drive by and go, oh, there's an old building. Well, there's a new one right there. There you go. I walk by and look at this one and I go, yeah, I wish this building could talk. And that's why I gravitate towards older people. There's so much wisdom that they can give us, and take the time to listen to them. And when you're out there in TV land, think about the fingerprints that you're leaving behind, the footprint that you leave behind. And they may not be yours. Clean them up, police them up, make it look better. Pick up the trash, push the cart in. Take time to be kind, and never skip an opportunity to tell those that mean the most to you that they mean a lot to you. Crap happens. And you don't want to be in that shoe and go, you know what? I wish I wouldn't now. There's no wish about it. Just say it. Because crap does happen. Y'all have a great day. We love the feedback.
Thank you.